Good evening, YouTube. This is Kayleen Strain coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And I hope everyone remembered to pull their clocks back who are in an area where you're supposed to do that last night. I hope this is the last time that we got to deal with this time change crap because I'm tired of it. I'm sure there may be a few who may be popping in a little late, but for those that are in areas where you don't have to deal with it, I do apologize if it seems a bit confusing, but gonna get on with tonight's dinner. This is the second meal from this 2021 pack French RCIR labeled without pork. And this is a totally fishy one. This is tuna salad, which I always heat these up. I think it tastes better that way. So that will go into the pot on the stove. And we have the fish soup, and I have a bowl for that. So got the bowl for that. Then the set of the crackers or biscuits from the last time, the salty ones, the cereal, and the chocolate ones. This is that fruit nougat bar, same as in the older RCIR, the one that was marked halal, only newer. Got this is the 65% cacao chocolate bar. The mixed berry fruit jelly bar. And this is that mango tea drink powder that will go into my drinking jar. And because we only had the one jam, I just grabbed a peanut butter out of my stash. And this is the green tea with mint. From Mama Ines, which is a brand produced by the Homipsa company out of Spain. And I just have a plastic bag off to the left to put the trash in. And the packet of sugar will go into the tea. I'm just going to use a pair of scissors to cut this open. So it does look like a instant tea with sugar. And this is one of those things that I prefer to drink on a little stronger side instead of using the full 500 mils of water. And because this has a lot of sugar in it, I mix it up first before I do anything else. That way it gives it a little bit more time to dissolve. I just added a tiny bit more water from my bottle. I'm going to set that there. I'm going to put this into the pot on the stove. And I'll get into... Actually, before I do that, I want to get the soup powder into the bowl. And these are notorious for getting thicker as it sets. So now I'll go ahead and put this in the pot on the stove, and hopefully there will not be a repeat of last time with the pop tab failing on the can. This one does not have some of the chunkiness like the previous soup had, because that one actually had bits of potato in it, maybe bits of leek. Excuse the noise outside. I have my slider cracked because it got into the mid 60s Fahrenheit for high today. And we're actually supposed to have this mild streak for a few days. So there's a few dogs outside. So I'll put that back there. Very minty fragrance coming from the tea. I'm going to go ahead and put this on live chat. And let's see who we got in here. Okay, my chat is froze. I can't scroll up yet. I don't know if it's up that, but I do see Mama Styles. I see Spicy Tuna Rolls. I see DeCarlos Perry here. And this is a bit crooked. I'm going to go ahead and open up all the bars. Let's see how this chocolate bar held up. Yeah, you can definitely see the bloom on there from being heat stressed. A tad bit crumbly. Now this is the mixed berry jelly bar. Looks like strawberry, blueberry, not sure what else. So this one will be very dark in color. That's what that looks like. Now this one isn't quite so misshapen. And I'm definitely getting a bit stronger scent from it. Although I'm not getting that paint thinner scent. I'm getting a paint scent off of it. Just enough to be noticeable, but not extremely pungent. I'm going to go ahead and open these up. These are the chocolate ones. They look a little busted, but that's okay. Let's see how the cereal ones held up. The cereal ones are all in one piece. And in these RCIRs, you get only 2 packs of these. You get 3 packs of the chocolate, and then 3 packs of the salted ones. And these are also in one piece. I'm just giving my mango tea another mix. Let's see, Diana's here. Now I can scroll back through the chat. There's Mike Crasher in the house. And that is as far as I can go back. It won't let me go back any farther than one of Spicy Tuna Roll's comments. There is James Ortiz here. Oh, so someone apparently got a new job. That is awesome. I hope that works out. And I have my green tea steeping off to the side. I'm going to go ahead and pull the tea bag out of here, and then I will go get the tuna can and bring that back in here. That's right, I'm a tea bag squeezer because I don't want to waste any of that flavor. And for those just coming in late, this is meal 2 from this 2021 RCIR. I'm having the tuna salad and the fish soup tonight. And that will be it for this box. I did have a coffee in here, but I felt like the tea tonight. I'm double dipping on the tea, so to speak. So anyway, I will get the tuna and I'll be right back. I'm using a paper towel to dry off the can. Let's see what. No pop tab fail. Trying to get as much out of here as I can. I just push it in like that so that I can go ahead and toss it into the bag. And I just have a trash bag. I'm just using a Walgreens bag. Got big chunks of potato, got carrots, There's corn in here. And a nice amount of tuna. Carrots are soft, but the potato it's soft, but not near as soft as the carrots. Here is some of the tuna with the corn. The corn has a bit of a bite to it, which is nice. It's not overly soft. There is Nation MRE Finds in the house. Thanks for dropping in. And this is a tuna salad with vegetables. Again, I like to eat this hot. But if I was in a situation where I could not heat this or the other one, which was labeled salmon salad, I would have eaten them cold. Again, these rations come with a foldable Esbit type stove and 6 fuel tabs. So I am more stocked up on those because I save all those I get. I have enjoyed this one in the past, and I do like it. There's a bit of a tang to it, which is kind of nice. That goes well with the tuna. Believe it or not, I have not had Mexican Coke since I was in Mexico back in '86. And there are stores here in Des Moines that do sell it. I just haven't bothered to get any. There's Hugo Homestead in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Well, since I was not in the chat when he pulled, and when my name came up, I'm pretty sure that it was passed on to someone else. Yeah, because I say at the beginning and just before I kick out that I'm kicking out after at the end of the first hour. Well, I wouldn't go back to Mexico right now anyway, considering the crime situation down there. And a whole bunch of other stuff going on that I would not feel safe going back down there. I'd rather go to Poland. I would have a harder time communicating over there because I don't know very much Polski. But any Spanish speaking country I go to, I would not have any issues. But Poland is the land of my ancestors, so I do want to go. And speaking of Poland, Delicious put up a video, I think a couple days ago. I saw it come up in my notifications, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. I'm not sure if that one is in Polish or not because the title is in Polish, but I definitely want to check that out later. Yeah, and it's not just pierogi and kielbasa. I have a book of Polish recipes. There are quite a few in there that feature fish, and there are a lot of others that feature chicken, pork, and beef. Of course, I would substitute beef for or chicken for in the pork ones. But as I said before, my mom used to make some killer Polish style cabbage rolls. And I saw a video come across my feed on YouTube called galumki, which is a cabbage roll recipe, but I did not watch that one. I should. But that one may be in my cookbook. But my mom makes it with or she used to make it with a tomato sauce. It'd be a thin sauce, not thick like a pasta or a pizza sauce. We used to have a store here in town called European Flavors, but I don't think it's in business anymore. And my mom would sometimes have one of my sisters go pick up something from there that is Polish. But there's another store that sells the same type of stuff, and that's where one of my sisters found the beef Polska kielbasas that we had on her birthday last month. I'm going to take a drink of this mint tea. Nice spearmint type flavor. Nice aroma. Yeah, that's not a bad mint tea. I'm going to pick up that bowl. So this has thickened up a little bit. I probably added a little bit more water than it initially calls for, but these soups tend to thicken up quite a bit, and it has thickened up a fair amount since I mixed it up. It looks like it might be a mushroom type soup, but it is a fish soup. Little bits of seasoning in there. I do detect the mushroom flavor, so there may actually be bits of mushroom in here. Then some of the clumps may be bits of the powder that just didn't get mixed up, but this is a pretty nice soup. It will probably thicken up even more as it sits. And I'm going back for some more of this. Yeah, even in something like this, the French companies that do these rations, they do it right. Yeah, that very first RCIR I got a hold of was the one that had the ostrich with the cranberries. I had never had ostrich meat before, but that is one of the best ration entrees I have ever had, and I have not found much to come up close to that. Now that tandoori chicken in the halal RCIR, that was really, really good. Yeah, that was from 2015, and I think trying to get a hold of one that's still in good condition would be a very, very difficult thing to do. Since I mixed this a little bit strong, I can get more of the mango flavor in with the tea flavor, and I can pick up the mango scent from it. Yeah, I know. I poked around the Artipol site. Artipol is the company that does the Polish rations, civilian and military, as well as their firefighter rations. I think those are issued to their forced firefighters or maybe rural firefighters. But you can order from the Artipol site and you can change the language to English and you can change the currency to US dollar or whatever your currency is. I would love to do it, but it would have to either be a fish item or an an item that does not contain any meat other than fish because there's a good chance that it could get nipped. And I don't want to take that chance. But it would be nice to order something straight from the source country. Like, you can also do that with the entrees and maybe some other items from the Norwegian Arctic field rations. They're also known as real termat. Yeah, I know there is a YouTuber that I watch. Once he was sent some by some viewers, he got hooked on those. And so he has acquired a good supply of those, and he likes to take those out on some of his trips when he just wants to boil water to heat up a freeze dried meal as opposed to using a stove or a campfire or something to cook other food. And also, speaking of halal rations, I was supposed to get one delivered today that was actually shipped from inside the U.S., so the seller already had it, but I won't get it because it's not even in Des Moines, from what I could tell by tracking, and it was supposed to be delivered yesterday. But I'm hoping that I will get it tomorrow. But it is a boxed ORP from the UK. It's not one of the bag ones, but I saw a good deal on it, and the shipping was not bad at all. So I dropped some coin on that thing. So I'm looking forward to getting into that one because I had not had an ORP, yeah, a halal ORP menu 10. I've had a menu 1 and I think a menu 4 from the boxed ORPs from before they went to the bags. So I don't know what menu 10 is from that particular year, but I don't care. I'm looking forward to digging into it. And I'm hoping that it'll find one of the best ration coffees out there, Rumba or Dow Egbert. If I can get a Dow Egbert coffee out of that one, that would be a score because that's the best coffee that has, to me, has come out of a British ration. And Old Smoky agrees because he likes Dow Egbert as well. I can buy Dow Egbert coffee on Amazon. I just haven't done it. Okay, I'm going to go back to the soup. And I'm going to dip one of the salted crackers in it. It's actually not bad. These have a good crunch to them, but I like the flavor in the soup, so I'm going to break it up. See, I like that these have a little bit of a toasted, extra toasty on them. Maybe that's all, that one I'll put in there. I'll just slide that back. Yeah, I like that. I'm sure the soldier in the field probably would do the same thing, putting some of their crackers in their soup and then saving, like the salted ones, and then saving their spread for like the cereal and the chocolate ones. You know, De Carlos, there are some good, I think the vegetarian and vegan food options have definitely gotten better. But there's still room for improvement. And, you know, you just have to get creative when it comes to cooking that kind of food. In fact, the restaurant that I have been getting gift cards for that are just given to me, they have some very nice vegetarian dishes there. Like they do a really nice treatment of collard greens. This restaurant is called Gersha, and they feature Ethiopian food. Some of it is spicy, some not. But you can get some very nice veggie dishes like the collard greens. It's done a different way than what you might find in the southern U.S. And I like that style of preparation of the collards. But what I get at Gersha, it's seasoned a little different. And all I like to put on it is a squeeze of lime and call it good. They also do another mild veggie dish with carrots and potato and cabbage and kind of a yellow curry type sauce. And then they do lentils. That can also be known as dal. D-A-L or D-A-H-L or D-H-A-L depending on, you know, however others choose to spell that. But that one is not spicy. And then they have another couple of vegetarian things that are spicy, but they're great for dipping or putting on top of your rice. I dip injera in those, and I dip injera in the lentils as well. I like doing that, but that's just me. Yeah, yeah, this is the So this is the pack date. And up here is the best buy date. And this is the entire menu in English. So I ate the cod pate last time, or last week. That was a very, very different in texture than the chicken pate from the halal RCIR that was produced in 2019. And that was a lot coarser grind. It wasn't extremely smooth. It would be a lot easier to just spoon that pate onto the cracker instead of trying to dip it, whereas the cod was extremely smooth, almost to the point of having some viscosity to it. But still, that was a very, very good pate. You really got the cod flavor. And in combining that with the salty crackers, they both just work so well together for me. And I'm sure for a lot of others who may get the same menu. But yeah, this is definitely a good one. And so if you really like fish, this menu 7 from 2021 would be the one to get, because everything in here, like the 2 entrees, the pate, and the soup, it's all fish. And this is one that would be good for people who follow halal or kosher dietary guidelines, or who don't eat other meats besides fish. This would be good for them. A member of my mosque and a guy who is a member of the Iowa State Legislature in the State House of Representatives, he does exactly that. He is vegetarian, but he eats fish, so they refer to that as a pescatarian. Pesca meaning fish. So fish is the only meat that he will eat. So when he comes during Ramadan, he will only pick those items that don't have any actual meat in it. Now, there may be meat flavorings, but here he lets that slide. Like we use like a meat stock or chicken flavored bouillon cubes in the rice as part of the seasoning. So he will eat that rice, but he will just eat veggies. Or if there's any fish, which is rare, he will eat that. Or on Tuesday nights when we get cheese pizza, he will eat the pizza. We also get pizzas with black olive on top along with the cheese, and he will eat that. There is Tim Riley in the house. Yeah, Akale Abdul Samad. He's the one I'm referring to. Now, Tim knows who I'm talking about. Yeah, he's a pescatarian. So if he was handed this entree, he would definitely chow down on it. And he probably would. He decided to follow this diet path in order to improve his health because he had done some serious hospital time in years past. And he thought that maybe cutting out all meats except fish would do him some good. So he gets his protein. Oh, and there is Nation MRE Funds dropping that super chat. That's much appreciated. Yeah, I actually like these nougat bars. And the smell on this one is actually not that bad. It's not very strong. And this one definitely has more of the sweet fruit flavor than the older one. It's a little softer. And this is rice paper on the sides here. So you can hold it like this without it sticking to your fingers. Although this one is really not all that sticky. But if this were to get warm, it would be very sticky. So having this rice paper on there would definitely make it easier to get out of the wrapper. So I set it down like that. And this is the chocolate bar, 65% cacao, but as you can tell, it has seen some heat stress and it has been bloomed. Then this is the mixed berry fruit jelly bar. And this is the fish soup, which I put most of the salty crackers in. So they're gotten very soft by now, but they do add a little flavor. There's some lumps of the powder that just did not get mixed up, despite my trying to get it to mix up, but I'm okay with that. This is the green tea with mint. And this is a pretty nice mint tea. I like it. So Homipsa has done good with this one. So they use, so this is the coffee. There are two of these. So this is Mama Ines. See if I can get this. if I can get it to focus on there. And sometimes this wants to focus, sometimes not. There we go. But there is. Now there's the Homipsa's info out of Spain. They're very big in with doing the Spanish rations, and I think they do the Portuguese rations as well. I've never gotten a hold of a Portuguese ration. I think it would be nice to try one of those. And it's been a few years since I last had a Spanish ration. I think the last one I was able to get was just a breakfast one with the biscuits, and I didn't even bother reviewing that one on camera because it was just like the breakfast biscuits and I think sweetened condensed milk and the coffee. And of course, you always get toothbrush, toothpaste packet, hand sanitizer packet, couple of water purification tablets, and the fuel tabs, and a foldable stove in the breakfast ration. And you keep that travel toothbrush, and I've kept all of those that I've gotten because they're perfect for travel because they're the collapsible kind. You take it apart, then you put the opposite end into the hole of the handle. Well, that would be a problem for me, Tim, since that place is probably not on a bus route. So someone would have to go get it for me. And there's an express bus that goes to and from Ankeny a few times in the morning, a few times in the afternoon, and I think a couple of times in midday because it serves the Ankeny DMAC campus. And when I was taking classes at that campus, I took a bus there. But because it was an evening class, I did what we used to call they used to call the night service for the DART. They had a different name for the night service for a shuttle that would go from certain spots within the coverage area to another location where I could catch a city bus, a regular, a non-express bus. They used to call it on-call, and now I think they call it something else. But I have never been in that particular area, so I don't know that Ankeny Target or that Chick-fil-A, so I don't know anything about that area at all. Another time when I took classes at the Ankeny DMAC is in the daytime when express buses were not running, but I rode with another student who was taking the same class as I was. So I just dropped her a little coin for gas. And she needed help with an assignment for one of those two classes that I was able to figure out. Then I would help her with that. Okay, that would be much appreciated. Yeah, this thing went crooked again. I guess I occasionally bump it or something. This mount likes to turn a little bit. By the way, this is part of my phone mount that you see right here, covering up the chocolate crackers. But speaking of chocolate, yeah, you can see how misshapen that is. That's what it's supposed to look like. Still has a good solid snap to it. But you can see in this part of it, it has got that bloom all the way through. But there it's dark. Still tastes good. Yeah, see that? Yeah, that bloom hasn't hurt the flavor of it any. It still tastes like a good dark chocolate. Remember, it's 65% cacao, so it'll be somewhat similar to if you go to a grocery store, you'll see chocolate chips called semi-sweet. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less sweet than those. Yeah, I got into yeah, definitely the French dark chocolates are very good. I do enjoy them. Yeah, I got into part of Smoky Stream last night when I got home from the mosque after helping out with a community dinner. And we broke in one of our new hot boxes for the first time. One of the women cooked up a pot which can handle 10 pounds of rice at once. And then we got these steel steam tray pans that you'd find on a buffet steam table. We got a set of those. You know, the full length ones, not the half size. And so we filled those with the rice and stuck those in the hot box. And that rice sat in there for probably 4 hours. And it was still plenty hot when we took it out. So we own these now. Last Ramadan we borrowed two from a restaurant, but now we own four of them. Someone donated the money to buy four of these. And you can put six of these standard depth pans in there with their lids. And then we also have some shallow ones. So you could get 7 of those in there, possibly 8. And the way they came delivered was 2 of them stacked, and then there's a dolly that the pair of them sit on, so they could be moved around. But the way we got them situated, we have them in the areas where they are going to remain. And they will just stay in those spots. But we do have the dollies and the straps that hold the 2 hot boxes on top of the dolly if we do need to move them. But yeah, owning these is very nice because it'll make prepping for large groups a whole lot easier. We can get some of the food cooked earlier, or food is being brought in from outside. That can be brought in earlier. And as long as it's already hot, you stick it in there. It'll keep it hot for like 8 hours. Or you can use them as cold boxes if you need to put a bunch of food that's already cold or even frozen. These are dense foam, so they are light to carry when they're empty. And these that we have slots for label cards where you can write on it, say, probably with a dry erase marker. And each hot box had a full set of these label cards plus what was already in there. So each one came with 5. So we could label them and just change up those labels if we need to do that. But having these hot boxes is definitely going to be a lot more convenient for us. Now the cracker's almost dissolving and has thickened up the soup a little bit more. Another thing we can do with them, since they can be used to keep things cold as well as hot, in the summer when we do an outdoor thing, like a cookout, we can have one for hot foods, one for cold foods. And then when the serving tables run out, open up the hot box, take one out, close it back up again. You're back in business. And next spring we are going to do a Muslim Day at the Capitol. And we may even be able to use them then to bring in some of the food, because we do bring in food and we serve it to the legislators, their staffs, the building staff, and any other visitors. Sorry about that. Bumped it again. Yeah. Back in 82, when my family was at the YMCA camp outside of Boone, Iowa, we had access to this huge kitchen with one of those tilting, they call it a tilting oven, but you can boil in it, you can fry in it, you can saute in it, and it tilts. And if you have a something like chili or a soup, you can literally tilt it down and empty the contents into buckets or whatever other container you're going to put it in. And you can also clean it out that way. You can clean it and then you just tilt it down to dump out the water because it actually has a sprayer head above it. But we made enough food to feed 700. So it was the 7 of us in my family because my sisters and my brother were all still living at home. When they weren't, my oldest 2 sisters were not in college at the time. And then we had 3 other people helping us, so it took 10 of us to make from scratch chili. We had like 3 different breads. We had like 3 different cookies. I don't remember if we had a salad or not. I think we just had the bread and the cookies to go along with the chili. But yeah, had we had those hot boxes back then, it would have made keeping that food hotter a lot easier because we had to transport it from the YMCA camp outside of Boone to Des Moines. And we had to get it there early enough so we could load it into the buffet tables that were rented for this fundraiser. It was a fundraiser for the YMCA. That group that owns that particular camp. So it was a fundraiser for that particular YMCA. So yeah, it was a logistical nightmare to pull that off. And then plus we had others who were constantly refilling the serving pans, swapping them out, plus whatever drinks we had. So yeah, it was, but we pulled it off. And then whatever was left over, we had containers so people could buy the chili and the bread and the cookies and take it home. And then what was left over after that, those who were actually working that event got to take a little bit if we wanted. But I'll tell you, we didn't want to see chili for a month after that. But it was so much fun to do, though. So I think we had 500 or so come in to eat, and then we sold a lot of it afterwards. So yeah, that was definitely it was an undertaking, but we pulled it off. Well, DeCarlo, sorry, I don't have any I could upload to you. But yeah, Tim, the cleanup after something like that was another job and a half. Unfortunately, the place where we were serving at was a full service building, so we had access to a commercial kitchen where we could wash everything up afterwards. So that was a definite help on that. And the closest to it since then I came to feeding that many was, I think in 2018, one night during Ramadan, we fed over 500. As we had a large group come in to join our regulars. And it's a good thing we knew enough in advance so we could have that much food on hand, but it's the space that was a bit of an issue. Of course, at that time, maybe it's 2017 or 2017, I don't remember, but it was when Ramadan was in one of the warmer months. Like in, I think it might have been in June or even May. And so people could sit outside. We have 4 picnic tables out in the yard. I call it a yard. It's a grassy area with these 4 picnic tables. So people were eating there. People were in a room off of our main community room that is usually reserved for like kids things. That room was full. We had people eating in our supply room. And then we had people up in the lobby, in the entrance. The only place that we did not allow anyone to take food was up in the prayer room and our little nursery room above that because we didn't want to have to deal with any mess on the carpet. But we pulled that off. In fact, we did that before we even had a cart that we can use to move things back and forth. Say in between the supply room, the kitchen, the main community room, and the kids' room, which we could use. I think we got that the year after we did this huge feed. And once we got that cart, that made things a whole lot easier because you can move a whole bunch more in one trip. And sometimes we even used it as a serving cart to put things on for, say, put plates and utensils and napkins on it. But now that we have these hot boxes, that's going to make things so much easier for us, especially for large groups. Yeah, and when you're working out of a small kitchen instead of a large kitchen like the YMCA camp kitchen that I mentioned earlier, you have to have so much done ahead of time. And unless you have food brought in from outside, which we did that night, we fed over 500, people would have had to start in the kitchen, it's like right after the Fajr or morning prayer, if not before then. And at that time, we only had a 6-burner stove with 1 oven. And we had the flat top with 4 individual heating sections. And that thing was starting to go out. You know, we were starting to have issues with both of those, but you know, they were original to the building, so we kept them until they just started to fail. And now we have a 10-burner stove with 2 ovens, and we have 2 large griddle pans that can cover 4 burners each. So we never really lost that function. And you could put those 2 griddle pans on and still have 4 heat zones because you have 4 burners under each one. Yeah, the only thing our ovens cannot do is double stack like the serving pans. We don't have a second rack in the oven, so we really can't properly double stack without crushing what's underneath it. But if we can get a hold of a pair of those and put them in as we need, take them out when we don't need them, you know, that would be even better. But that will have to wait for another day, because we have been having some repair work done in our kitchen, especially to the walls. There's some finish work to do on that, and we got a new fridge and freezer, which give us more capacity and more efficient use of the space. The freezer is upright. It looks identical to the fridge except for the temperature setting on it. And of course, we have the door. We have them set up so the freezer is on the left and the door opens to your left, and the fridge on the right, and the door opens to the right, just like if you had a side-by-side fridge at home. It's basically like that, but with wire shelves, not the solid glass or plastic, but we can change the height of those, so we can configure those any way we want. And we got a bunch of different size tubs and bins that we'll use to organize the stuff in there. Because the previous fridge, people would try to stick those foil pans in there, and if they don't do it very well, they have a tendency to leak, and if they make a mess, they don't clean it up. Plus, that one just didn't have the capacity that these new ones do. And the old freezer we had, it still worked, but that was given to one of our community members who needed it, a freezer. And it's I think like 6 or 7 cubic foot chest freezer. But if you're short, that one is very difficult to use if you have to get something that's way down the bottom. But having the upright, that makes it so much easier to get things in and out of there. And there's a little display on them so we can tell exactly what the temp is inside there, which is nice. We just don't know how they'll do during a power outage, but I'll tell you, they do suck the watts, because when those compressors kick in, the lights will dim or flicker. But that just means that we got to do some electrical work down the road. But because we fundraise for every time we do one of these projects, we can only do a little at a time, which is the best way to go about it anyway. Sure. Any church that you might attend or other house of worship, they deal with the same thing. You know, those buildings will have their issues and they got to deal with it. I'll tell you, these French soup powders, you could do all kinds of things with them. You could use them in a ramen instead of the seasoning packet. You could probably turn them into like a fish flavored sauce. Like the potato leek soup. You could probably just add that to instant potatoes. Kind of amp up the flavor of those. Yeah, I would definitely do something like that with these French soup mixes. Okay, Tim, thanks for dropping in. Tim lives right here in Des Moines, so he knows a lot of stuff, and he's done stuff on a commercial scale. Like, we have a building called the Ruan building. Ruan is a trucking company that's based here. And they have a tall building, and then there is a couple of restaurants in there that he has been in there, so he knows how those types of kitchens work. Catering events, and just handling a large number of customers at once. And the one restaurant that I did work in, it was small. You could fit both seating areas inside the community room or inside the prayer room of my mosque and still have some room left over. That's how small it was. And the kitchen was very small, but we had a grill stove with an oven. We had a convection oven. We had a microwave. And we had a 2-burner, like a hot plate. And then we had a counter behind one wall where 2 crock pots would sit with one would have one kind of soup in it, the other one would have another kind of soup in it. And then those would just be worked all day. And then we had a cooler underneath the salad table that all of the salad stuff that I was using would be kept in. And then there's another smaller cooler, a smaller fridge and freezer. And then we had the full 3-section sink. So yeah, that kitchen was pretty tight, but we made it work. Okay, Diana, thanks for dropping in. I'm going to take a bite of this mixed berry fruit jelly bar. Mamata Boar. I'm just guessing at pronunciation. Thanks for dropping in. Welcome. I do this at 7 p.m. U.S. Central. That would be 8 U.S. Eastern. I'm not sure where you're at, but yeah, the time change is probably screwing with everybody here. There's a bill that passed the U.S. Senate to kill that, but it has not been passed by the House of Representatives. But I hope it does. That way we don't have to deal with this stupid crap anymore. It's outlived its usefulness. If you mean support, yeah, sports is something to, yeah. I do thank you for dropping in. So tonight I ate the tuna salad. And the soup is not labeled on here what it is, but it is a fish soup. So the salted biscuits, there is a piece of one there. These are the chocolate ones. And these are the cereal. They're kind of sweet. And then this is a fruit nougat bar with rice paper on two sides. Mixed berry fruit jelly bar. So it's just like a big gummy candy with sugar all over the outside. And this chocolate bar, this is what's called bloom when it gets light in color and some of the fat starts to separate out. And this is 65% cacao chocolate, but it's still perfectly fine. So this ration is fish centered. So this is a fish flavored soup. It looks like a mushroom soup, but it is fish flavor, but I think there is some mushroom flavor in there. And I crumbled up most of the salty crackers into it. This is a green tea with mint. And this is a very nice one. These rations come with two teas, the green tea with mint and a black tea. And then it comes with a packet of cocoa mix, which is not near as sweet as an American cocoa mix or an American style cocoa mix. And it comes with one cold drink mix, and this one is the mango tea flavor. So it looks like an iced tea with the mango flavor in it. I like it. Some people think it might be a little weird, but I do like it. And it comes with a pate of some kind of meat, or these rations may have a canned cheese. And there's one dessert that's in a little can. It could be dates, it could be prunes, it could be a pudding, it could be a custard, it could be a rice pudding, anything like that. And it comes with one spread, usually a jam or a jelly. And it comes with a muesli type of cereal. That can be flavored with chocolate or fruits and nuts. And you can mix that with either hot water or cold water, but for these, I very rarely do any kind of a breakfast thing with these rations. You know, it is evening when I'm doing these. So I saved those muesli or porridge packets for camping food. Or if I want, I can put one in my bug out bag or my get home bag. Like an emergency kit. I may stick them in there. And then these rations come with water purification tablets, a foldable solid fuel SPIT type stove with 6 fuel tablets, along with some matches, and you get a little bag for trash, or if you need to use it to keep some things dry, you could use it for that. So these are meant to be a 24-hour or a full day's worth of food for the soldier in the field. Or it is for the American soldier, unless they were going into an environment where brief disconnect. If they're going into an environment where they may not have a whole lot of time to do any sort of meal prep, like use a flameless ration heater to heat up a pouch of food, then they will get 3 single meal MREs, meal ready to eat. Otherwise, if they go into certain situations, they may be given what's called a first strike ration. Or the only preparation you would actually need to do is to mix your drink powder into your water, and then that's it. You don't heat anything up. It's all food that's meant to be eaten on the go. And that's supposed to be a 24-hour or full day supply of food. But there are other additional food and drink packages that someone could get if they are going to be doing a serious amount of physical activity and need the extra calories. So I have a few of those USMREs and a civilian single meal ration in the lineup. Actually, I have a couple of civilian single meal rations in the lineup that I will get to. But for these, I'm doing 2 meals out of these boxes. What I've basically been doing is I will dig another spread out of my stash. For instance, I have a packet of peanut butter. I could have easily gone for another jam, but I just chose to grab a peanut butter. Then because there's only one cold drink option, I will grab one of those out of my stash. So last week I pulled a grapefruit drink mix out of my stash, and that originally came out of a British ration. And since I'm waiting on a British ration to be delivered, I will actually have a few more of those to add to my stash. Because one ration that I have, it's a civilian one, does not have any drink options whatsoever. And because this one came with 2 packets of coffee, and the British rations usually have 2 coffees and 2 teas in them, and about 4 or 5 different cold drink powders. I will have a choice of options to pull from my stash. That's pretty much how I do it. Right now, even though my phone screen shows no current viewers, that doesn't mean I'm just going to turn this thing off. So next week I have a few, or next week I will not be doing a live stream because I will be coming back from a camp where military veterans are invited, and it is some time to honor their service. You know, to thank them for their service and just give them an opportunity to just come out into the woods to have a good time. You know, to feel like that they were appreciated for giving of their time and their knowledge and skills. I have had several of my family, my relatives, serve in the military at various times. And I have a second cousin who is currently in the Air Force. In fact, my step grandfather on my mom's side was in the Army infantry during World War II, and then in Vietnam he was in the Air Force. So he was in two different branches of the military. Doing completely different things. And then I have a cousin who served a number of years in the Air Force but never left the U.S. She was a jet mechanic at an air base in Florida. And I've had a few other relatives who were in the Army. I don't know anyone who was in the Marines or the Coast Guard. But this weekend, you know, since Veterans Day is coming up soon, this camp is organized around that. There is Chicago in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I hope you remembered to change your clock, hopefully for the last time. If Congress would get their act together and pass that bill to stop this nonsense. The Senate passed it, now just needs to pass the House of Representatives and send it on to the President to sign it. So I'm finishing off the fish soup. It looks like a mushroom soup. And I think there is mushroom flavor in here. But the main was the tuna salad with veggies. And I heated that up because that's how I like it. Haven't opened up this peanut butter yet, so I don't know if I'll even bother with it tonight since I haven't really done it yet. But these are the cereal biscuits, same as last week. The chocolate ones. This is a bit of the salty one that's left. A fruit nougat bar. And this one surprisingly doesn't smell that bad. Has a better taste than the one from the halal RCIR, which is older. And this chocolate, yeah, it's ballooned, but it's still perfectly fine. Mixed berry jelly bar. This is that mango tea. Some people don't like it, I do. And I mix these strong. 13 ounces of water instead of the 60.9 or 500 mils. And I opted for the green tea with mint. So I'm double dipping on the tea, I suppose. And this is a nice one. Not that I've had a bad tea come out of a French ration. But yeah, this chocolate bar definitely saw some heat stress, but I'm definitely going to finish it off. But the salmon salad, which I also heated up last week, I had the cod pate, so this ration was totally fish. This would be perfect for pescatarians. Or it would be one that might be issued to a soldier who follows the kosher or halal dietary guidelines. There's nothing in here that would bother a Jew or a Muslim. Of course, when the flavor's right in the food, and the French are very good at that. Yeah, anybody would enjoy it unless you can't eat fish. Now, this does have a crustacean source ingredients, so anyone who is sensitive to crustaceans would probably want to stay away from this one. Sorry, I keep bumping the dang foam out. Oh, sorry, let me fix that. I do apologize for that. When I'm eating out of a bowl and I don't want to spill all over myself, I have a tendency to bump this dang foam out. I'll just slide this over here so these not obscured by that piece of my foam mount. Again, Mike Kresher sent me this and the Halal RCIR that I dug into previously. So next week I will dig into one of the rations that I got from Burger Butt and Burger Butt. Dave, who also goes by Flat Top Dave. In some of the videos on that channel, his son LJ may make an appearance. That's why it's called Burger Butt and Burger Butt, because when they both are doing the video, that's where that name comes from. I mean, not exactly where it comes from, but that's how, when that channel was set up, that's how Dave or both of them decided to do it. Now these chocolate ones, they're kind of broke, but they're still fine. That one does not quite have the same amount of crunch as the chocolate one. Then again, it could be because of the ingredients, you know, the way that it's made. But the jam that I had last week out of this ration, it's a good match for it. I work with the peanut butter as well, because I did that when I ate the ones out of the Halal RCIR. But I think even though I got it out, I'll probably just skip on that. I just got this in case I wanted to do that. But then again, I might not. But what I have for 2 weeks from tonight, I have an MRE Star branded cheese tortellini. I have some regular US MREs. And then I have a Chef 5-minute, I think, lasagna. And that one comes in one of those tubs that I could put in a microwave if I wanted to, as opposed to putting it in a pot of water and boiling it, or using the included flameless ration heater. But those do not come with any kind of a drink option. The only thing different about any of those is you get the same sides all the time. You get cracker, you get banana chips, and you get a granola with latte, which is basically like a coffee creamer, a dairy-based coffee creamer, and a jelly. And that's it. No drink option of any kind. So that's where my stash comes into play. I'll pull something out of that. And those granola packets, during Ramadan, this last Ramadan, I used some of those for my breakfast when I ate my breakfast before first light. Among other things. But the last one of those that I got it's currently in my camping food bag. But when I'm camping with a larger group, we tend to combine foods, or we just share what we have. Like, I may take a package of beef bacon, which is produced right here in Iowa, or I may take some beef breakfast sausage, and I may give everybody a sample of the beef bacon. And I'll usually have eggs, and maybe someone might cook some potatoes. And a big old pot of percolated coffee. That's usually how we do it. And we may do our own lunches. And then for our suppers, we may, they say we'll only have a potluck one night, but we may end up doing it both nights just because we want to share. And because this one will have some vets who are specifically invited to join us, they may be told they don't have to provide their own food, that they will just get to enjoy our offerings, and unless they may follow a specific diet that they want to bring food that fits in with that. But I don't know. But we're camping at the same place where we did last year, where they have these big poles that look like topless trees sticking out of the ground, spaced in such a way where you could hang a hammock between them. And there are enough of these that were placed so you could hang 6 hammocks. And last year I did take a hammock, but one of the cords, really thin elastic cords that would hold my underquilt up, that broke. So I got me a new underquilt that is actually a little bit longer, so to provide more coverage underneath my hammock. Plus, I think it'll be a little bit warmer too. And last year I tried an experiment where I laid my wool blanket down in the hammock, folded up, just so it's like a strip running down the hammock. And then I put my sleeping pad on top of that. And what that did was it kept it from sliding around so much because I tend to move a lot in my sleep. So that definitely helped keep my sleeping pad in place. Plus, it provided that extra layer of insulation inside my hammock. So I will probably, if I choose to take my hammock, which I might do again, I may go ahead and do that again with that wool blanket. As I will be starting to pack for that already. Like the clothes that I'm going to wear. Some of that is already in the backpack because it never left it. Then again, I could decide to take my tent. Then I would put my I put a ground sheet down underneath where I put the tent, and then I may put the wool blanket underneath my sleeping pad again. And then lay my sleeping pad, my sleeping bag on top of that. In September, when I volunteered at the White Eagle Powwow, I slept in a teepee. So I took my cot and my new air mattress, but I didn't realize until I was setting it up, my air mattress requires a pump. And I didn't have one, so I now have a manual pump for it. I opted for that because in the event of a lack of power, I still would want to be able to pump up that air mattress and it works just like your standard bike tire pump. So I will be making those decisions fairly soon. And then I will talk to the person who would be my driver because I can't go there by myself since I don't drive. And I'm keeping track of the forecast. So right now it looks like highs in the 50s Fahrenheit, lows in the 30s Fahrenheit. So but being out in the woods, it might be a little bit cooler than that. But I threw hand warmers into my sleeping bag shortly before getting into the hammock. I would throw one at the foot end, and then I would keep the other at my chest. Plus what I would sleep in. I would put on a fresh pair of socks before going to bed. That way I have dry feet. And when I get up, I put on another pair of socks. Then I hung those sleeping socks on my tarp ridge line so that they could dry and air out. And then I would put them on again at night before going to bed. And it's either 100% wool or wool blend sock that I get. And And unless it's really, really cold here, and I'm going to be outside for a fair amount of time, I will wear other thicker socks, and I save my wool ones for camping. Or at least my heavier wool ones. I have others that I may wear when I'm going to be outside for a fair amount of time. But the main thing is I layer it up. I will have some long johns that I wear underneath my pants, and I may wear a couple of shirts underneath a jacket. Then I recently got a double layer rain jacket or windbreaker that has a lining that I can put in. And if I wanted to, I could wear it as a standalone jacket because I can zip it up just like the outer shell. And so I've been wearing that a few times. But for the next few days, the lightest jacket I have may be all that I wear. Early this morning, I noticed my heater hadn't come on for a few hours, so I looked at the temp. Oh, in my bedroom, it's 66 or 65, and then out here in my living room, it's 66. So I just shut the heater off, cracked the windows, and it'll stay like that for probably at least through Wednesday. In fact, before I go to bed tonight, I will fold up the wool blanket and just have it at the foot of the bed. And I may turn my fan on that I have in the bedroom. I can't open my windows too much because my cat's a screen climber. I don't want to have maintenance come replace a screen that was torn out by a cat. I got away with it once where they didn't charge me for the bedroom screen, but it was probably damaged anyway by wind anyway, so I'm sure they let that one slide. But I don't think they'll let it slide again if this cat were to be able to rip that screen. So I won't take any chances. I don't open up beyond what is just not quite big enough for her to get her head through. Still 59 degrees Fahrenheit here. And is, yeah, 9:30. I've only set two of my clocks. The watch I'm wearing and the clock radio in my bedroom. I haven't bothered resetting any of the other ones yet. My wall clocks, I tend to not bother with it. Okay, my chat just popped up with nothing new since Chicago graded spicy tuna rolls. So I don't know why I did that. Yep, but I'm excluding those. Like my wall clocks, the clock on my microwave. I may change that one, but the wall clocks I just tend to leave alone. But the main ones that I want to set would be my watch and my clock radio. It used to actually be worth it to change the wall clock times before, I don't remember what year the time change got moved to later, the first weekend in November, where you pull them back, and I think the first weekend in March is when you push them forward. Used to be like in October, we would pull them back, and then like April when we would set them forward, but when they cut the so-called standard time back, it just, to me, it just became more of a bother. They used to say when you change your clocks, change the batteries in your smoke detectors. But with a lot of them nowadays that have built-in batteries, or you put a long life battery in there, like the lithium batteries are rechargeable. And you're letting them run on one battery longer. They're not equal the amount of time one battery might be in it. So I don't follow that rule anymore because, for one thing, my living room smoke detector is hardwired with the battery backup. And it only gets changed when it starts beeping. And it may be a few years before the next time the battery gets changed in that one. And the one in my bedroom is not hardwired. And I may change that once a year. Because that one hardly ever makes any noise. Except when the battery's low. That's the only time it will make noise is when the battery's low. You know, the one in my kitchen will, or outside my kitchen will make a whole lot more noise because obviously it's picking up whatever I'm doing in the kitchen. Now, the old place I lived, there was a smoke detector right outside the bathroom. And because I take a shower with the bathroom door open, otherwise my mirror would fog up despite the vent fan running, and there would be condensation all up down the walls. So I leave it open in order for a lot of that humidity to escape faster. Well, before I started, you know, the steam coming out of the shower, coming out of the bathroom, would set that particular smoke detector off. So I just took the battery out. I already had 3 other smoke detectors in the place, so I didn't need that one. So that one just got to be too much of a hassle. Yeah, that was a 2-bedroom unit instead of a 1-bedroom where I'm at now. I had a bigger kitchen, so I had a lot more storage. But I left that place because of some other issues going on. Of course, every place you live, you're going to have issues of one kind or another. But slowly they're getting solved here. Had some repair work done to solve some problems that an inspector cited. So that's done. But I'll have to get out of this apartment and move into another one. And there's been some activity, some worker activity in the apartment next to mine. That's been vacant for a few months, so I'm hoping that the property manager will just let me go into there so that this one can be completely gutted and redone, which it needs because it still has the old crap that was in here from when I moved in. Shoddy construction. It will mean I have to pay more in rent, but at least if I try to find anywhere else, I'd probably still have to pay a minimum that same amount of rent and possibly have a smaller space yet. Plus, if I can take over the apartment right next to mine, it'll be an easy move, and I'll still be able to have my plants because I could put them on the deck. And I will get west sun, which is not quite as blocked as the sun from the east, which is partially blocked by trees and a house. So my plants may do better there because I will not have the obstruction on the left end of the deck as I do now. So I may be able to try growing some things that I have not been able to do now. I tried marigolds again, but none of those seeds came up. My garlic chive didn't come up. Something else came up in its place. I don't know what that was, but I got one common chive to come up and that's it. But, you know, I'm just going to keep doing it. I got a few more things that I want to try. Now that I have an additional pot that I rescued from being sent to the landfill. That will give me that much more growing space. The previous occupant of the apartment next to me left a pot on that deck. So I'm hoping that I will get to keep that. Because I said, you know, I'll even take the pot that's out there on the deck that they left. And it looked like a pretty decent one, too. But it's on them to make that decision on if they like my idea or not. I'm finishing off the jelly bar. Now this is not too sweet, aside from the sugar on the outside. It's got a natural berry blend flavor to it, or as natural as you can get with these things. And I do really like these jelly bars. I will finish off this chocolate bar, and this blooming really has had very little effect on the flavor itself. I'm still going to polish it off. Naturally, it would be better had it not been heat stress, but still. This is a very nice dark chocolate. As one of the people in the chat said earlier, French chocolates are very good, and I do agree. European dark chocolates are much better than the American versions. And that's how I will finish this set of RCIR meals off. Again, I want to thank my crusher for sending these to me along with some other goodies. It was great to show a comparison between the older version of the RCIR, especially the packaging, with the special markings compared to the newer style. Whereas this one has the special marking incorporated directly into the box printing. The older versions, probably before 2020, I'm assuming, have a green stamp just slapped on at a 45-degree angle to the rest of the box text. And sometimes those could be faded or not be very clear, whereas this, it's big letters. So you can't miss it. This is a very nice box of goodies. So again, I encourage you, if you can get a hold of a French ration that has not been messed with in any way, go for it. Even though some items may be lacking, like only one cold drink option, only one spread, but the rest of the items, you just can't go wrong. The fresh French ration packers and the companies that produce the foods for them definitely know what they're doing. So if you can get a French ration, do it. You won't regret it. And I also, again, want to thank Nation MRA Farms for dropping that super chat earlier. That was greatly appreciated. That little bit added will help to provide more content for my channel, where I may do some more gear stuff, prepping stuff, camping. I will shoot some video next weekend, although I can't guarantee a whole lot of video because it's all about the veterans. So just like when I was at the powwow, I didn't shoot a whole lot of video because it was all about the kids' crafts and the presentations done by the various performers and other exhibitors in order to build community among different people of different origins. But whatever I can capture on camera, I will do that. And then I will bring it to you after I come back. Because I probably won't get squat for a signal out there, even with my hotspot. But sometimes that can be a good thing. So for those that are watching on the replay, I hope you do enjoy this one. So next week, it will be back to a weekend after, the Sunday after next would be my next stream. And it will be back into the single meal rations, whichever one I decide to pull out of the box. So I hope you come back here in a couple of weeks. So thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.